We've said we wouldn't hit the pay slips of working people. We passed.
Everything he has done is attack people. The budget was an attack on farmers, an attack on workers, an attack on pensioners, an attack on the young, and an attack on thousands of charities and businesses across the country. The whole system is broken, Mr. Speaker, and he is making things worse. He is making things worse. Everyone is unhappy. Isn't it a good thing that the Chancellor is an expert at customer complaints?
Imagine this. You're promised a brighter future, more jobs, cheaper energy bills, and a fair chance for the working class. But as we dive deeper, we see a different reality unfolding. The promises? Broken. The working class? Crushed. The government? Turning a blind eye to the very people they vowed to protect. This is not just politics. This is personal, and it's happening right now, in the heart of our communities. But the real question is, who is paying the price? Farmers? Workers, pensioners, the youth. The list goes on, and the government continues to tighten its grip on every single one of them. How did we get here? Who is responsible for the suffering of the very people who keep this country running? The answers might surprise you, and they're not what you think. We said we wouldn't hit the pay slips of working people. These words echoed through the chambers. But what did they really mean when the very same government launched a series of attacks on those who could least afford it? From rising energy bills to broken promises, the working class is left to pick up the pieces. Farmers, pensioners, and businesses across the UK. Each one has suffered under policies that promised help, but delivered disaster. The budget was not just a set of numbers. It was a direct hit on the heart of our communities. Farmers left to fight for their survival, workers pushed to the brink, and pensioners robbed of their security. No one is untouched by this, and yet the Prime Minister and the Chancellor continue to defend their actions as if nothing has changed, but everything has changed. A bold political stance. Kemi Badenoch's brilliant. Kemi Badenoch's recent jab at Rachel Reeves during Prime Minister's questions was a masterclass in political theater. A quick quip.
The CBI said on Monday that the dots of the government's policy don't join up. They're right, aren't they?
Yeah. And she talks about a petition. We had a massive petition on the 4th of July in this country. And we spent years taking our party from a party of protest to a party of government. They're hurtling in the opposite direction.
Playful, sharp, and cutting, questioned whether Rachel Reeves, once a customer complaints expert, could really handle the high-stakes role of Chancellor. It was subtle yet potent, insinuating that her background in customer service somehow made her unqualified to run the nation's economy. The insinuation was clear. If Reeves couldn't handle complaints, how could she be expected to handle a nation's budget?
A load of nonsense, Mr. Speaker. We had a budget in March this year, and tractors were not blockading the streets of Whitehall afterwards. So let me give him another example of a real business and made it easier for people. Everything he has done is attack people. The budget was an attack on farmers, an attack on workers, an attack on pensioners, an attack on the young, and an attack on thousands of charities and businesses across the country. The whole system is broken, Mr. Speaker, and he is making things worse. He is making things worse.
This clever move not only highlighted Labour's potential weaknesses, but also hinted that Labour might just be the party of complaints, not solutions. But beneath the humor, there's an underlying question. Does the Labour Party really have the solutions this country needs? Or are they just a well-oiled machine of complaints and disappointments? And it's not just political theater. This is about real issues affecting millions. Across the UK, citizens are struggling with the cost of living crisis. Promises of lower energy bills and tax cuts for small businesses have faded into empty rhetoric. Instead, people are watching as their bills rise, businesses close, and essential services are cut.
You just read out the charge sheet against the last government. Everything is broken. And they come here every week with absolutely nothing to offer except complaints. Nothing constructive, no new ideas. They don't know what they're doing from one day to the next. Living in this fantasy world that everything was fine apparently for 14 years. Well, the country's fed up with those fantasies. They've got rid of those fantasies. We're going to take the hard decisions. They're jumping on every bandwagon that's passing. We're taking the country.
One glaring example, the controversial decision to close the Stellantis Walsall plant, leaving over 1,100 workers jobless just weeks before Christmas. a crushing blow to working families who thought they were supported by their own government. How can labor claim to stand with the working class when they deliver such devastating blows to the very people they promised to protect?
Until then,
I'll decide when there's more.
Mr. Speaker, until then, I'm the one asking the questions. There's a petition out there, 2 million people asking him to go. He's the one who doesn't know. He's the one who doesn't know how things work. It is not government that creates growth, Mr. Speaker. It is business. His employment secretary, I don't see her here, she wants more young people in work. But businesses say they are cutting jobs because of the Chancellor's budget. His Deputy Prime Minister, she's not here. Her employment rights bill will stop businesses hiring. That's what they say.
And then there's the farmers, the tractors blocking critical trade routes, the protests shaking the nation to its core. This isn't just a minor issue. It's a loud and clear statement. The government's trade policies are failing them. With deals like the one with New Zealand flooding the UK market with cheap imports, British farmers are losing their livelihoods. Farmers are not just protesting, they are standing up for the survival of their businesses, their way of life, and they're doing it in a place that speaks volumes. Dover, one of the UK's most critical trade arteries. This isn't just about farmers versus the government, it's about preserving the backbone of the UK economy. As we head toward the second last paragraph, we must ask ourselves, what happens when these promises go unfulfilled? What happens when the very people who were supposed to be protected are left out in the cold? This isn't just a political failure. This is a national crisis. The government, whether conservative or labor, has failed to deliver on its promises. The working class, the vulnerable, and the industries that form the backbone of our economy are all suffering. And yet they continue to pretend that their policies are working. They are not. But there is hope. The public is waking up. They are asking the hard questions, demanding answers, and they're ready to take action. It's time for the government to prove that they can deliver or risk losing everything they've worked for. The real question is, can they change before it's too late? Or will they be remembered as the architects of a broken system? This isn't just about politics. This is about our future. The time to act is now. If you care about the future of the UK, about protecting working families, farmers, and businesses, it's time to make your voice heard. Share this video, leave a comment, and make sure your voice counts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications, because when the government won't listen, we will make sure the people are heard. Join the conversation, and let's hold them accountable together.